Welcome back to Stories with Steve. So this is the crazy story of Drunken Mike, the crazy dishwasher. So this goes back to my days working in the kitchen, right? Now, when you work in the kitchen, you're gonna work with a whole assortment of different dishwashers and cooks and wait staff. It's gonna fluctuate. The kind of like the people who are basically become veterans in the kitchen, whether it's a dishwasher, cook, wait staff, or whatever, you'll see them, but you're gonna go through a lot of people. Now, when I first started working at this place, before I could get a job as a cook, the only opening they had was a dishwasher, and I needed a job. And I'm not one of these people that's going to be stuck up and I'm too good to do that job, right? So I started working there. I was doing like dishwashing and then food prep and worked my way up to cook, right? Now, when I get there, there's this dude, country ass dude, right? Kind of, I later found out he had more like a hillbilly quality to him, right? But he was from somewhere down south. I'm presuming the deep south, because he was extremely culturally ignorant to a lot of stuff that your typical New Yorker would not be. Now, your typical New Yorker is used to dealing with people of every ethnicity, religion, race, creed, whatever label you want to put on it. This dude wasn't used to dealing with anything. So we would have stuff that was kind of regular run of the mill stuff that would just perplex him. And, it would be food that would be common in New York, whether it's Italian American food or Puerto Rican food, Dominican food, whatever. And he would get perplexed. You know what I'm saying? And he was highly culturally ignorant. He couldn't pronounce ethnicities correctly or anything. So my first time hearing him with his crazy pronunciations was I was talking to this guy, and the guy was one of the food and beverage managers, right? Now, we're both Italian American. Funny enough, our families come from the same region. So we're chit chatting about food and stuff our family made, stuff we like from bakeries and stuff like that. And this weirdo turns around and goes, "What's that?" That was one of his favorite phrases. "What's that?" So, and I said, "Oh, it's a spugliatella cannoli or something." And he goes, "What's that?" And I said, "It's an Italian pastry." Like, he goes, "Oh, y'all some Italians? I thought you was some daggone Portunes." So me, the other Italian American guy, and one of the guys who was cooking behind the line there was Puerto Rican. We all turned around like, "What the?" So that was the first taste of him and his crazy mispronunciations, right? So, and from party to party, we would have different food, different type of pastas and rice, and everything perplexed this man. Plus, he was a severe alcoholic. He drank before work, during work, after work, right? He was a serious, serious, serious alcoholic. I mean, he would even go into the basement of the place and like sneak in like a sheet of paper into a room where they had the big kegs of beer and bottles and kegs and cans. And he'd go in there, be in the refrigerator drinking it and leaving it there. Sometimes they would find cans of beer and bottles of beer scattered throughout the basement, but he was slick enough to get past the cameras down there. So he was a slick alcoholic. He would drink backwash liquor. And what I mean by that is he's a dishwasher. So he's in the dish room and he's on the banquet side and he goes to the bar side. So you have people drinking cups of beer and liquor and liqueurs and soda and stuff like that mixed with alcohol. And that would come back. Now, your normal dishwasher would toss that stuff in the sink or the garbage or whatever. But he's an alky. So he would take it and get like a quart container. If from the kitchen atmosphere, you know what a quart container is. He'd get a quart container and take all these different backwash liquors. A little beer from here, some Hennessy from there, some whiskey from there, a shot of this wine, and drink it, right? If you saw him getting on the bus on his way to work, he was drinking Cobra. Some people call it them crackhead beers. He'd be drinking that early in the morning, right? The man was crazy, right? Another time, we were having a party, and it was a party where it was a lot of Jamaicans having a party. So reggae and soca and dancehall music was playing, and they're having a good old time, like a usual Jamaican party would be. But this food isn't used to Jamaicans or any kind of West Indians or anybody other than his ethnicity or whatever, I guess. So I come in, he go, "Oh, them daggone Jamerks. They out there doing Jamerk dances to their Jamerk music." Whew. They must think they in Jamaica. Oh, I'm like, good God, this guy is crazy. Another time we were having a party. Now, the place that we worked at, right? There was like a lot of Koreans that would come through for some reason. They like come in there to eat, whether we prepared them food or they bring their own food. So one at one point they had a party where they bring a lot of their own food. We just catered a little bit of it. So they're bringing the food in, and mind you, this is Korean food, right? So and they didn't want to take any of it home, so they were bringing it into the kitchen to either the staff to eat some of it or throw it away or whatever, right? Here come crazy drunken Mike the dishwasher, right? So and he go, what's that? What's that? And they go, oh, it's food from the party over there. And they go, oh, what's that? That daggedy Chinese. That daggedy Chinese food. And then one of the waiters, who was half Italian, half Korean, was like, no, it's not Chinese, it's Korean. He said, that's what I said. Daggone Chinese. I mean, this is the way this guy was. He was culturally ignorant, didn't know nothing about any kind of good food or any other food that didn't encompass his usual, I guess, upbringing. Another time there was these two Dominican kids, right? And they're walking by. Now, both of these guys are fluent in both Spanish and English. They can speak both languages with no problem, clearly. But they're more comfortable talking in Spanish, so they're talking in Spanish to each other. So they're walking by, talking Spanish to each other. Here comes drunken Mike the dishwasher, being crazy and slightly racist. He sticks out his head out the dish room. He goes, y'all gonna keep on speaking that dangity Spanishy. Y'all gonna keep on speaking that dangity. Y'all go back to Portoon. So the two Dominican kids look at each other like, what in the is he talking about? Right? So they said, what did you say? He's like, you heard me. You speaking that dangity Spanish. And y'all gonna go back to Portoon. So now they're like sitting and realizing that Portoon and this guy's, alcohol fused, defected mind must mean Puerto Rico or Puerto Rican. So one of the Dominican kids turns around, he goes, look, dude, we're not Puerto Rican, we're Dominicans. He goes, what's that? Like it was Martians or something like that. And he goes, some dangity dinglids. And I'm like, what in that? Like, this guy got some names for cultures: Jamaica, Italians, Portoons, and dinglids. It's a dinglid. So he says that, but then one of the Dominican kids hits him back with, he's like, look, dude, he's like, I wasn't born in this country. I speak 2 languages, and I can speak English better than you. That threw the drunk dishwasher off. Now he's rambling incoherently in the dish room. I go dangity, schmaggity, fangity, pangity, poo, poo, poo. He's going off. He sounds like the Tasmanian devil mixed with Yosemite Sam and I don't know what else. So, that you got that going on. Then he finally talks about, he's talking to one of the dishwashers and me and another cook over here, and he goes, that's what, that's why they keep on serving this stuff that I don't know what it is. My mama, she go down to the swamp. She find a big hairy muskrat. She beat it, boil it, have that in potato salad. Now that's food. So now everybody's perplexed, no matter what ethnicity you are. This guy doesn't know what good food is because he's used to roadkill and apparently swamp rats or muskrats with potato salad. So this guy, he's not normal South or normal country. He's like hillbilly, backwoods, my family might be extra family, cousins or something, cousins marrying cousins or something. He's crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, damn, this guy, he's roadkill. He's beyond culturally ignorant. He can't pronounce anything correctly. He gives ethnicities new names because he can't pronounce them. And like I said, the man's an alcoholic. So one day he misses the bus that would drop him directly in front of the establishment that we all worked at. And the area that we were working at, they had wild turkeys, like living in, beyond the premises. There was wild turkeys and stuff. So, and this drunken fool is drunk as a skunk early in the morning, drunk as a fish early in the morning. And he's walking and walks near one of the baby turkeys, right? He walks near one of the baby turkeys and doesn't realize that the rest of these, and these ain't like butterballed, happy-go-lucky Tom the Turkey Thanksgiving turkeys. These are like grimy Bronx gang-banging turkeys. Some of them skinny, they got to look to them like, like they ready for war, they ain't eaten a while. Like, these aren't regular turkeys. Like, these are some tough, rugged turkeys. So he stepped near the baby turkey, then stumbled near it again. Now the whole, whatever you call the whole group of turkeys, because I don't know what their group is called, but a whole squad of turkeys is now chasing this man, and it's raining on top of it. So now the rest of us who are at the establishment there in the morning, we see in the distance, we see the drunken dishwasher running, and we're like, what is he running for? Then we see the whole squad of turkeys. I mean, you just have to picture this. A drunken fool early in the morning getting chased by like 10 turkeys and a few baby turkeys. He's slipping in the rain. It was a ridiculous sight. You know what I'm saying? A ridiculous, ridiculous sight. Another time he got into an argument with one of the other dishwashers over who was gonna wash what. I mean, the man was ridiculous. And what ended up happening with him ultimately was he was just too ignorant, too disrespectful. You weren't allowed to be drink on the job, and he drank excessively, both stealing beer, drinking backwash, and then bringing alcohol into the place. You know what I'm saying? Another time he said something crazy to one of the sous chefs who was a Mexican. He said something dangity Mexican, dangity, 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 and the sous chef wrote him up for that. And that place was semi-seasonal, so at some point in the year they would lay people off and they would bring back the people they want. And being he was basically absolutely out of his mind, drunk, crazy, ignorant. He's bothering the other dishwashers. He's getting chased by turkeys. You know what I mean? He's constantly saying culturally ignorant stuff. He would see there would be trays of food. It could be vegetables, rice, or whatever. And you got a kitchen staff and a wait staff that's been working hard all night on a party of 200, 300 people, and there's some food left over. They might want a meal, but because he doesn't understand what this food is, and it's obviously not muskrat and potato salad, he's thrown all the food out. So nobody liked the guy, right? Nobody liked the guy at all. So when it came time to rehire, the executive chef was like, "Oh no, we got everybody. We don't need you back, Mr. Drunken Man." And that's the story of the drunken dishwasher, the crazy drunken dishwasher.